had ruled. It was a time of darkness. It was a world of fear. It was the age of gargoyles. Stone by day, warriors by night. We were betrayed by the humans we had sworn to protect, frozen in stone by a magic spell for 1,000 years. Now here in Manhattan, the spell is broken, and we live again. We are defenders of the night. We are gargoyles.
Oh my god, did I just do all of that with no sound? Oh no! Oh my god! Yep, okay, well. Let's try that again. Okay, so Gargoyles is one of my favorite shows ever. I absolutely adore this show. I have boomered the ever-loving. We're only 3 minutes into the stream. Oh my gosh. There you go, folks. There you go. We got quality, nothing but the best here. No mistakes ever, at all, at any time, or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, like I love this. Okay, so what I was saying before, when you couldn't hear me, was that Gargoyles is one of my favorite shows ever. And this is, I don't understand, like people are depriving themselves so much of great storytelling because they're like, oh, cartoons are for kids. Guys, this, and yes, I will get the elephant or the gargoyle out of the room right off the bat. Yes, this is a Disney television production from the 90s. Okay, there, we said it. It's over, it's done with. But this show was just, it means so much to like so many people. And I'm so stunned that nobody ever brings this up in discussion. Like it's not something when someone's like, oh, what's a show that you really love or something that reminds you of like your childhood or something. So few people bring up Gargoyles, and I don't understand why. Like this was one of my favorite shows of all time. The animation was on point. The story was incredible. You know, like there was so much the whole premise of how this show starts with them being betrayed and then cursed for 1,000 years until the castle goes above the sky. Like, it's incredible. I think this is probably where my unhealthy love of Gaelic, Scottish, Irish architecture and like medieval castles comes from. Because like I watched this. I think I was like 4 when I watched this show. And I loved every second of it, and I ate it up, and I thought that it was just fascinating. And I loved how they looked in the daylight in this as stone. and then they just burst out of it, like they just shake it off like it's nothing. Freaking fantastic. I mean, truly, truly great stuff there. And I think, you know, when people are like, oh, it's like cartoons are for kids, clearly they don't watch South Park or Family Guy. But I think that animation specifically, and one of a creator actually for Disney, and I can't think of his name, but he was one of the brothers responsible for the 90s Renaissance at Disney. But he said that animation, not everything that you do in animation can translate to live action, because there's really no limitations when it comes to animation except your own imagination. And when you get into like a live action adaptation, it doesn't always translate, as we have seen with Beauty and the Beast and The Lion King and Aladdin. Like, those things that were so magical in the animated versions simply did not translate over. I think they nailed Cinderella. Nailed her, like that live adaptation. And I'm talking about the one that's like from 2010 or something. I think that they nailed that adaptation. But I don't think that they've had a good, but that's also because they stuck to the story of Cinderella. And didn't try to throw in all of this like messaging or anything like that. They just let it be Cinderella, and it turned out pretty dang good, honestly. So I mean, there's that. But before we really get into this show and how much I love it, I do have a few donations already. So holy cow, thank you. Cybot, who I'm assuming is asleep because it is like 3 a.m. his time, for $10 said, "Hi, Lady G. I've heard you mention Sabaton before, and they are basically the only band that I listen to with any regularity. Got any favorite songs? Hope you have a great day." Oh God, The Last Stand and Night Witches are probably my two, like, they are my two go-tos of Sabaton. I could listen to those two songs on repeat into eternity. I love Sabaton. Guys, if you don't know who Sabaton is, they're an insanely talented metal band, and you get like a fantastic history story, a fantastic history lesson wrapped into every single one of their songs. It's just absolutely fantastic. So thank you, Cybot, for the $10. Raj Williams for 10 Canadian says, "I loved Gargoyles. My favorite was Bronx." Oh, I love Bronx. He was so cute. I just want to pet him. Yes. I love how they just were like, Goliath's the only one with a name. So they just started naming each other after like where they were, the regions that they were in. So good stuff. Bronx is good. Oh God, if I had to choose a favorite, it would probably be Goliath. I don't know how you could not love Goliath. But you know, it's all good. I'll let you love Bronx. They're all fun. Oh my God, we had a very active sex bot in the chat. Thank you, Legionist and Eric K, for sniping that one. Appreciate my wrenches. Thank you. Cal G for $4. Oh my gosh, Cal G's donated I've got 4 of them from Cal G. Here we go. 1 to 4. A gargoyle doesn't whine, he roars. Gargoyles was the stuff, bruh. I'll admit I first caught wind of this show via reruns on Toon Disney real late at night. This show is up there with the likes of Kim Possible and the Proud Family. The original, not the new one, Recess, The Emperor's New School, American Dragon, Jake Long, and Phineas and Ferb. Coincidentally, I also saw a 7-inch scale Goliath figure while I was at Target today. Oh my God, nice. As well. Should have went ahead and bought it too. Finally, here's a fun fact. Sally Richardson, the woman who voiced Eliza, was hanging out with Teddy Riley, the man who produced Michael Jackson's Dangerous album. While working on that album, she helped and inspired him with a lot of the tracks that appeared on that album, such as She Drives Me Wild, Remember the Time, and I Can't Let Her Get Away. Isn't that interesting? I apologize for the long-winded donations. My fault. Not at all, Cal G. Thank you. That's fascinating. I love to hear stuff like that. Woo! Thank you, first of all, for all 4 of those, and for $4. So that's $16 donation. Thank you so much, Cal G. And I am jealous that you saw a 7-inch Goliath figure. And I agree with your assessment. It's up there with some of the best animated TV shows I've ever seen. If, like, for me, it would be like the Batman animated series, TMNT. I would put Kim Possible in there. Teen Titans I would put in there, not the whatever reboot of the Teen Titans, whatever it was that they did, but like the OG one. Definitely the original Recess. American Dragon was great. Yeah, so there's so many fantastic animated shows out there. And it's just by trying to say that animated shows are only for children, lots of people are depriving themselves of some really great stories. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the style that the animators went with for the elves in the animated Hobbit and Lord of the Rings series. But it still told Tolkien's story. It was still relatively good. There was lots of really great stuff, obviously, because it's Tolkien's story. So there's a lot to love and a lot to miss out on. Sorry about that. I bumped my mic. But yes, so there I can't everybody thinks that like animation is somehow too juvenile. I think that some of the best stories we've ever seen have been animated, quite frankly. But that's just my personal opinion. It's my channel, so that's what I'm gonna say. It's my story. I'm sticking to it. Eric K for $5 says, "Lady Boommaster." Well, you know, someone's got to do it. I'm just paying homage to Gary. That's all that was. That first like minute and a half of the stream where I 1,000% boomered it. That was me paying tribute to Gary, because you know we love Gary and he needs some love or something. We're gonna go with it. We're gonna absolutely roll with it. So to get into this, and the nice thing about Disney is they don't really copyright strike. So hopefully we can get away with it. But I think when a lot of people have seen this show and get a chance to actually hear what the story is and the premise, it's just fascinating. There is so much to love. And I mean, this first episode of this series does not hold any punches. It is insane how good the opening episode of this story is. There are, I think when he figures out that he's been betrayed and he's like rushing to get back to the castle, and you can just see like the devastation when he knows he's not, like, he can see the castle, but he knows he's not going to make it. The anguish that comes through in his voice, and the animators completely captured that pain, that devastation, the way that it would have been for real, with him realizing that he's been betrayed. He doesn't know by whom. And by the time he gets back to the castle, it's basically been razed to the ground. And any gargoyles that didn't go out patrolling that day and had made it back had been destroyed. Or like his friend, they were down in the cellar and the sun came up and they had turned to stone down there. And then you find out that it wasn't just this was like a 3-pronged betrayal for Goliath and his clan. Like, there's so much that happens in just that first episode that you're kind of like, you can still watch the rest of the story, the rest of the show without seeing the first episode, but it would rob you of the depth that this story actually has. There's so much going on in this story. And can you imagine? So these are creatures who can only be awakened at night. Then they're cursed for 1,000 years until the castle is above the clouds. So that's the curse, that they will remain stone until the castle raises above the clouds. And it's just, you wouldn't think that, like, for me, I was like, well, what if there's like a fog? I'm trying to figure out a way around this curse myself. I'm like, what if there's like a fog or a fire rolls in, because fog is technically clouds. But no, I guess in the when you read it or whatever, when you read the enchantment, it's literally it means the clouds. Up in the sky, it must raise above the clouds. And Goliath is like, do it. And you're just like, whoa, what? And he's like, basically, I have nothing left. He's like, I got nothing left. Just do it. And you're like, whoa. And then this rich guy comes out of nowhere and hoists the castle up and sets it in no other city, at least when it comes to I feel like a lot of stories happened in New York City in the 90s. There was so much optimism surrounding New York City. I don't know where it all went, but they need to find it again, because New York City is in trouble. I just wow. Oh, you guys, hang on. I see you guys talking about it in the chat. Bronx and the trio were in the Rookery. Yeah, the Rookery, and voluntarily. Yeah, Brian. So, but Goliath was the only one. Royals were not voluntarily cursed. So yeah, there's like I said, so much is going on in this first episode that you have to keep track of. And if you miss this first episode, you're gonna miss a lot. It sets up the whole premise for not just the story. Oh, yeah, they were if you tried to give someone a brief synopsis of this episode and you were like, oh, there was a battle, the gargoyles went out on patrol, the ones that remained behind ended up getting destroyed in the sunlight, and the castle was razed to the ground. And so then the gargoyles decided, they were cursed for 1,000 years until some rich dude lifted them above the clouds and dropped them in New York City. You're missing so much, even by just me giving you this breakdown. Probably most of this is going to get focused on the first episode. I'm not going to lie, because so much does happen. But the idea that if you miss this first episode, you can sort of just bring it along, and they do great in the introduction to just give you that basic overlay of knowledge, but you're never going to actually appreciate what's going on if you don't see this first episode. And it sets up your characters so well and their struggle, and I love this show so much. Project Storytime, what's going on, Projects? Even the episode where Elisa gets shot is great. Doesn't have a message of guns are good or guns are bad. It's that guns are not toys, and they kept that going. She took episodes to recover. Yes. This show handled so many things, not themes, things, so many storylines, so many arcs with such depth and with such care and creativity and it never once tried to make it into something that it wasn't. Like, oh, well, this show is a hit, so now we're gonna, shove strong, independent woman number 3 in here or something like that, who can suddenly, kick Goliath into a wall, and she's just a human. So it always, I love it. And Detective Mazza, she's like not a pushover either. So hang on. So she's actually like one of my favorite characters ever. I actually tweeted about it ages ago. Hang on, let's bring her up. Boo. Yay, look, she's got a wiki page. You guys probably can't read any of that, but I'll do my best. It's white, so, but she's just, she is a productive, capable female lead without the need to like tear Goliath down. You know what I mean? There's no reason for her to tear Goliath down, and she's not made of stone. Like, she's a human. So use the Gargoyle wiki page. There's a Gargoyle wiki. I don't know why I'm surprised. But she helps Goliath and the others, the whole clan. Like, she helps them adjust is the best word I think I'm going to use there, even though they don't adjust the best. But she helps them with life in New York City and to sort of, patch up their weak points there, because they don't know the city. They don't know what's going on, and they need her. Like, she is legitimately important because, yes, they have their benefactor. But we learn pretty quickly that his motives aren't exactly pure. I mean, again, not surprising, but there's just a lot of manipulation going on. And she is simply just a good detective trying to do her job and figure out what these gargoyles are, if they're a threat to her city, if they're a threat to her, how she can help them when she realizes that they're going to be an even bigger threat if she doesn't help them. So she steps up to the plate, and I mean, she's got her weapons, she's got her guns. She tells them what's going on. And Goliath kind of laughs, and he's like, Gargoyle, remember? Because she's like, bullets, and he's like, Gargoyle, and it's just freaking hilarious. Also, Goliath is a perfect male archetype. Like, really, truly, just a fantastically written male archetype, and I love it. And they balance each other out really well, because Goliath saves her more than once, because she's not bulletproof. She's human, and she gets injured, like, a lot. He also, dives off a building to save her. Every girl's dream, or something like that. I don't know. But she was probably, like, my first, like, I want to be like her kind of characters. You know what I mean? And it was this and I really liked Captain Planet when I was a kid too. It's actually a pretty decent show. I'll probably do a nostalgic Nirvana on it, just so you know. But it's just so, like, she is capable without being unbelievable. She's well written. There's depth to her character. There's a personality there. She's not just a cold-hearted bee. And, like, she's kind of witty. She's kind of funny. It's so much fun. And I love that this series got a movie. By the way, there is a Gargoyles, the movie. But I really don't think that the first like 4 or 5 episodes of this series are my favorite. By a long shot. And not that the rest of the series isn't good. There's so many character arcs. There's so many just like surprises, and you like Demona is not my favorite. I'm gonna let you know that right now. Demona is not my favorite. And for those of you who don't know who Demona is, here, let me grab a picture. That's fan art, but it's a really well done fan art, so we'll show it. So this is Demona, and she goes from like she does a circle, a really intriguing circle, but like you figure out that she was a very big link in the chain of why the Gargoyles are in the situation they're in right now. Just so we're all aware. I really am trying not to give too much away because I want you guys to go and check this out for yourselves. There are, I think every episode is on YouTube for free. And I know there's VHS tapes that are floating around up there and DVDs. I mean, I will neither confirm nor deny that I have both VHS and DVDs. Yes, it is on DVD. So, like I said, it is a Disney show. But if you buy it, especially secondhand, and get it on digital copy, it's, I mean, it's good stuff. Always try to buy secondhand. So, all right, project. Look, I'm from the north. Leave me alone. I'm just gonna blame it on the north. That's my northern accent coming out. Skip season 3. I don't disagree with that, actually. Season 1 and 2 are really good. Season 3 isn't bad. But we don't shill for Disney Plus on here, Matthew, though. Shh. We buy secondhand. We buy physical media. But yeah, they're also on D+. Listen here, Clay. Don't be agreeing with Project, all right? I'm going to say it the way that I say it, and it sounds right to me. I can't hear it being, I'm saying it right. Y'all are killing me. Fine. It's just good stuff, guys. I highly recommend finding the like DVDs or VHSs. They're worth the investment. The movie is really good too. You're not going to be disappointed in your purchase for sure. It's one of the better things to ever come out of Disney. And I don't think I'm being hyperbolic when I say that. I wanted to say her name again, but like now I don't want to. But I saw somebody ask me what ring I would be when I brought, there it is. Hey, Soul Assassin, what's going on? Earth, Wind, Water, Fire, Heart. Which ring would you have, Lady G? First of all, can we talk about how I just find it, okay. I think the Fifth Element did it better when we're talking about the elements and whatnot. But if I had to pick one, I kind of really wanted for a long time I wanted water. I thought wind was a pretty useless one because like she never makes tornadoes enough. She just kind of like wind pushes people back, like doesn't really doesn't cause the level of devastation that earth, water, and fire did. But heart was a joke to me. I would like it was, I don't know. I would have had a better time or an easier time believing it if they would have called it like spirit, I guess, or something. But it was just I felt like they were trying to round out the five for Captain. I have no idea. Maybe it looked better to them. It was more symmetrical. But I always thought that heart was kind of a joke. And I thought wind was kind of lame. Because again, she didn't make tornadoes. You know what I mean? Like, girl, you and water could get together and make a hurricane, for the love, a land hurricane. Come on. But what you gonna do? And I'm back. Yay. So, yep, here we are. I was reported. I checked my email. It has been reported to YouTube that you may be showing copyrighted material. Man, first sex bots, and now I get another copyright hit. Who hates me? I don't know who I ticked off. I am not sure. I find it hilarious. So, oh well, we'll just continue to live dangerously. I don't like being pushed around. We're just gonna show Goliath standing like this is my mood right now. This is the mood I'm in. That's what they're getting from me. Or now I'm showing stills. That was my plan, Eric K. That's the mood I'm in. since apparently we can't show a 30-year-old trailer. Seriously, guys, that trailer's 30 years old. The 90s were 30 years ago. Like, it was just ridiculous. I don't know. 30 years ago. Holy crap. Weren't the 80s just like a decade ago? I don't know. Yeah, okay, but I didn't have any sound on the trailer. And I wasn't even showing it the whole time. So that means that somebody... And besides, it says it was reported to them. Not that YouTube detected that it was reported to YouTube. So, somebody's upset. Just saying. But yeah, the trailer was... It's 30 years, like, we're rounding up. It's 30 years old. I think this show came out in like 94. Isn't that what I have in my title? Yeah, 94. So yeah, we're rounding it, like, that's 30 years. And I'm just, oh, you're old, Project. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But yeah, this is my mood right now. Can you, like, oh man, this look would solve so many problems for so many people. Just stand there and give them the death glare and say nothing, just to add to the terror. The art of minimal speaking is underrated and is not a talent that I possess, though if I worked on it, I'm sure I could obtain some semblance of it. But I like to talk. I'm a woman, so if Steve was here, he'd be like, it's because you're a woman, and he is 1,000% correct. I have noticed that women like to talk a lot, way more than men, and I don't really care for chatty men. Like, it's bizarre to me. I guess, I don't know. But yeah, I'm just, we're just gonna show off Goliath there, and everybody else can eat their petty little pancakes. But yeah, I don't really like chatty dudes. Guys who talk too much tend to be unreliable, I've noticed. They might be fun to hang out with, and they might know everybody, but usually they're just unreliable. Like, I don't know. It's, oh my God, Brian. Okay, no, that's not, like, that's their job, is to get up there and talk about stuff that they're passionate about. That's not what I'm referencing. I'm referencing the try-hard dude who's like, oh yeah, I totally know what you mean, bro. Like, I hit this wave one time. It was the biggest wave I've ever seen in my life. Some people say that it didn't happen, but I swear it did. And there was like this crest on the wave, and it was pure blue. It didn't cloud over with white. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, those guys who are like, they go on a fishing story, they take you on their fishing story, and the fish gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and you realize that these dudes have no idea what they're talking about. My favorite is probably the guy who said that his daddy owns 4 car dealerships and he knows everything to do about cars. And so I asked him, would he rather have a Hemi, or would he rather have an Allison, to see if he even knew what the crap that was. Because anybody that knows trucks or cars, Hemi's an engine, Allison's a transmission. They're not the same thing. They work together, but they're not the same thing. He said they were the same. He's like, trick question. They're the same exact thing. I was like, what? It's like, they're the same engine. I was like, you go away. Just go talk to your daddy. Or let me talk to your daddy. Maybe he knows what he's talking about. Because you don't. Like, at all. And he's like, yeah, my dad owns 5 car dealerships. I know what I'm talking about. First of all, I thought you said it was 4. Why are we on this fishing story? Why is the fish getting bigger? Stop it. We've already learned that there is no fish. Unless it's a Swedish fish. I would believe that maybe you caught a Swedish fish. I don't believe that you know anything to do with cars. Allison and a Hemi are not the same thing. Go away. I digress. So, I'm just... He's supposed to be a horrible surfer dude, Eric K. I was channeling my best Freddie Prinze Jr. there, yo. That he hates Freddie Prinze Jr. That's the only who says bruh. I don't hate him. I didn't used to hate him. I liked him in She's All That and Scooby-Doo. And what? I Know What You Did Last Summer. He had his moment. And he needs to let that moment go and stop trying to be a teenager. Like, just accept that you are a middle-aged man. You will be much happier. Much, much, much happier. It's... Ooh. Just age with grace. Like, please, just do it with grace. Like, you're gonna age. It's okay. We all do it. Maybe these people should go back to, like, Goliath's time originally, where, you know, the life expectancy was 28. And if you lived to be 33, you were literally the village elder. So I always giggle every time, like, if you lived to be 45 in this day and age, it was considered a miracle. And I don't think that when you were 45, you looked like an 80-year-old. But every time you see, like, old men depicted in, like, cinema or stuff back in this setting, they look like they're in their 80s when they're only supposed to be, like, 45. So, okay, you can sound like a surfer dude, and it's fine that you're 47, but you live in Florida, so there's your saving grace. I sincerely doubt that you're a douche on top of being a surfer dude. I'm just saying. But it's just like, they need to be Elsa and let it go. But I can't. Oh man, I want to play with fire one more time, but I probably shouldn't. But you guys know, like, the intro scene, or the intro music, instrumental. I honestly, I think that it's some of the best work I've ever heard instrumentally for a show. It's just fantastic. There's the lifts and the crescendos and the diminuendos and diminuendo. There we go. I can say that word. And just like that, the strings and the bass, and it hits at just the right moment. It's so fantastic. And it pulls you in. It pulls you into the show. And it's just truly incredible stuff. There's only one other show. Oh my god, I can't think of it. And I think it might actually be in a movie. I can't remember the name of the... I can't remember the name. Do you guys... Where, it goes like... Hold on, let me see. I'm trying to remember it. It was like... You know what I mean? Do you guys know what that song is? What that bit is? Like, I know that song. Does anybody know? Like, I'm pretty sure that's the like melody to it. I can't think of the show. Project, I don't even know what that song is. I don't know where it's from. I can't get copyright struck for something that I don't even know is like, I don't even know where that's from. Ask Google. Brian, have you ever tried to ask Google where are these notes from? It's just insane. Oh, you guys are sweet. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm just trying to remember the name of the song. Aw, thanks guys. I hadn't even warmed up. That's like, that was raw. I appreciate it. That was only 3 bars. Chris, there's no encore. I don't know the rest of the song. I was kind of hoping someone in the chat would recognize it. I'm glad I didn't send any of you guys running. But like every time I watch Gargoyles and I hear the intro, like that tune also pops into my head. But that's not in Gargoyles. So I don't know why every time I hear the Gargoyles theme, that other tune pops into my head. So like, I was kind of hoping somebody would recognize it. But I feel like it was Raj. Yes, I feel like it was another animated show. I don't know about an elf, but thank you, Jacob. That was high praise. I do In the Jungle next. No, I will get copyright struck, Eric K. Absolutely not. Brian, what are you gonna? I'm telling you, you can't just type in do to Google and expect it to pop it out. Like that's just not. Google don't work like that. Trust me, I have tried. Name of the Rose popped into my head when you did that. Is it Name of the Rose? I don't know. Possibly. My sister, she tried to say that it was have you guys ever seen Anastasia, the animated Anastasia? I don't think that's actually a Disney property. But it was she's like, that's Once Upon a December. And I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Once Upon a December is like not that. That like yeah, Anastasia, the animated movie. She tried to tell me that it was like dancing bears, painted wings, things I almost remember, and a song someone sings once upon a December. So, like, that's not it. That is going to get copyright struck. I am going to have to edit that out. Because Fox doesn't play nice. I don't think the narc is still in the chat, but if they are, I'm dead. But yeah, that's, dang it, now my voice hurts because I did not warm up at all. That was a bad idea. That would be epic. What would be epic? Anastasia was made by Fox? I don't think that's what's epic. I think, yes, I think Fox made Anastasia. So it's just, but you hear what I'm saying? Like, that's not the tune that I sang before. But my sister's like, no, it's Once Upon a December. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, I know it's not out of Anastasia. I love Anastasia, by the way. I love that show too. But it's not that song, even though I love that song. But I love that movie, actually. But I digress. They're not the same. And it's going to drive me crazy. And every time that I watch Gargoyles and that instrumental comes on, that other tune comes into, like, weaves itself into my head. It's really weird. I don't understand. I can't really explain it. I seem to see music notes in my head whenever I'm thinking really hard. I don't know why. I was told it was a symptom of undiagnosed ADHD. I seem to be functioning just fine in my life, though, so I don't think that's what it is, but I have no idea. Yeah, yes. So Anastasia is made by Fox. It's when they tried to beat Disney with animation. Honestly, I think they gave them a good run for their money. But Don Bluth was over budget. He kind of killed the studio. Oh, that's depressing. Really? Over budget for Fox? Because in the 90s, Fox, like, it was 20th Century Fox. Like, that was, they did everything. I thought they would have been flush with cash. That's fascinating. I didn't know that. Thank you, Project. Thundercats, probably not. Also a great series. Was the song you were doing? Oh my god, hang on. Yeah, because that's from Pokemon. I don't know. I'll have to look, Clay. I'm not sure. Lugia would have been in like whistle tones though, and I'm not hearing it in whistle tones because like that's just how Lugia talked. But it could have been Lugia's lullaby. I'll have to hunt that down later. Titan AE killed Fox Animation. Oh, dude, but Titan AE was such a good show. We got to do a nostalgia stream on that, and I'm gonna have to bring on Quarter Black because I happen to know he loves that freaking show. Assuming he wants to come on. I'm not saying he does, but if I'm talking Titan AE, I have a feeling he'll want to, unless I'm misremembering him with somebody else, which I don't think I am. But pretty sure he is a big Titan AE fan. That's another great movie. But I digress. So now that we've gone off in La La Land, literally, back to Gargoyles, because that's why you guys are here. I think the animation for this show is so clean and so on point. I have no idea why it gets overlooked so frequently. There's so much that doesn't it doesn't get dropped. It doesn't get lost. There's emotion. Like it's not the same. It's not Goliath standing in this pose like 1,000 times. You know, like there's movement and it's fluid and there's motion and there's urgency and you're like really buying into these characters. And you believe their stories. And Goliath, for sure. Guys, look at this. I completely believe that he could 1,000% snap me into 1,000 pieces rather quickly. I would not be a challenge for this particular individual at all. I'm just, yeah. Like, can you imagine meeting that in a dark alley? That'd be terrifying. No, thank you. Oh, I don't know who you are. It just says it's literally just 3 dots. But thank you for the $10 donation. It just says lovely singing voice. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's been yeah, I like to sing quite a bit actually. But I think you're right, Soul Assassin. I think it is from Ocarina of Time, which happens to be one of my favorite video games ever. I think you may actually be correct. I'm definitely going to, I hope nobody ever listens to that part of the stream, because I definitely will get hit with something. Yes, we are defenders of the night. We are Gargoyles. And, Goliath is one of my favorite characters because he doesn't get, uppity or emotional. He just remains, this stoic foundation for everybody else. Does he have moments where, when he feels betrayed or, like Demona. Is that how y'all are saying it? It sounds right to me. I don't know. But Demona has, oh gosh, like when he realizes what she's done, there's true, genuine, like, shock, hurt, betrayal on his face. And like that's one of the few times he breaks, and only one of the few. But you have to understand that this woman, like, he loves her. This is the woman who is like the one who was supposed to stand next to him and help him defend the humans and their way of life and the cast. Like, there's so much that's going on. And I think anybody, whether you're gargoyle or human or an alien, I think if the person you trusted the most and who you truly loved and cared about did that to you, I don't think anybody could avoid being despaired, honestly. I mean, he was, I don't know, like, the show handles it so well with his turmoil and the fact that trust was something so sacred to him and so important, and that she would be the one to do that to him and to break it. And just wow, there's just so much there. And the fact that she becomes more than just like this traitorous witch. She really works on trying to, I don't know, like, not change necessarily, but grow more so. Man, another bot. Somebody loves me. But there is Teresa. Hello, Miss Martin. Hi. I wouldn't call her a total Karen, Soul Assassin, because she could still definitely kick both of our asses. Like for sure, she could 1,000% lay us out. She's definitely not a Mary Sue, and she's definitely not a Karen, because like she can back up her bitchiness by a lot. Yes, we can, Chris Persia. Yes, we can. But yes, I don't think the show would have been as solid if they had just left Demona as just like that shallow villainess, traitorous piece of filth. She becomes a much more in-depth villainess and much more intricate to the whole story overall. And it's not tangential or forced in any way. It's actually very much at the core, because she is part of Goliath and Goliath's story, his past and now his present and even his future. And she reminds him constantly of what she gave up. Like, very much like, I gave up this and I did this and I was, for 1,000 years I didn't have you. And so she is a master manipulator, on top of being able to crack pretty much anybody's skull. I mean, she's an insanely talented warrior. She's very, very I don't think that's actually the right word. She's very much her own worst enemy, because she wants to sort of remain in an existence that, and you can't do that. There's no way for you to chase the past or try to recreate it in the future and be successful at it. All you're chasing is misery. You are chasing shadows, ghosts, and misery, and that's really it. And she eventually grows to realize that no matter what her intentions were, no matter how right she genuinely believed she was wrong. And we're all mistakes based out of love. I would they were based out of love, but not all of them. She sort of convinced herself that that was the case. That she was doing this because she loved him. And it was a very misguided notion, because if you love somebody, you don't do that to them. You don't allow 2/3 of your clan to get wiped out, and you don't slay the humans that you swore you'd protect. Like, she violates her word. She goes back on her oath. She betrays Goliath. There's, and like when he calls her like my love, like, oh God, your heart just freaking breaks, because like he was a loyal, dedicated, devoted commander, and he brought that same devotion and dedication and loyalty to her. I mean, that is an epic love story that should be told. Not where she betrays him, but like I'm getting really sick of I am getting really sick of love stories being shallow and it always being the guy's fault just because the girl cries. And there's so much I would kill to see a story where the man and the woman are like, they're dedicated, they're devoted, they're loyal to each other, and that brings that sort of that passion and that timelessness. Because like anybody can slip in between the sheets. It's really how you build a life together outside of all of that actually matters. It shouldn't be that you have the most passionate kisses or what happens in the bedroom behind closed doors or whatever. It really should be what you build together outside of that. I don't know if that makes any sense, but in Gargoyles, that's what Goliath gave her. And she just was like, no, I'm going to throw it all away because I want to be number one. I want to be powerful. I want the humans to tremble in fear before me. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a serious ego trip. It's ooh. City of Stone showed her at her highs and lows. All of the Gargoyles' problems stem from her ambition. Correct. Yes, that I agree with. Absolutely. She threw away everything that the Gargoyles held, like, literally in stone. Like, this is etched into their souls. This is who gargoyles are. And she just chucked it all away because she wanted more power. Oh, there we go. Sorry guys. But yeah, so she's probably one of the best villains ever written. I mean that sincerely. I really truly do. There's Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. Guys, there's I keep getting now StreamYard is telling me that it's having a bad time. Lady Poopmaster. No, it's not me. It's StreamYard. I'm gonna check Streamlabs one more time. Okay. So I don't see any more donations. Guys, I think StreamYard is trying to tell me that it's had enough of me for tonight. Unfortunately, I wasn't done talking about gargoyles. I could talk about it for hours and hours and hours. But we have been here for an hour, so I guess that's fair. Like I said, I never try to keep you guys very long. But this is one of my favorite all-time series. I highly recommend it. Like I said, it is on Disney Plus, but there's other better places to get it. You've got DVDs and VHSs, and you've got, I think they're, like I said, I think all the episodes are on YouTube for free. I didn't get story time. We didn't even get past. We didn't even get past like episode 2. Like this is. I love this show. We're gonna have to do Soul Assassin. We're gonna have to do a part 2 because this is just such a good show. Okay. Project. I will ask you this question. Do you think that Xanatos, also aka the benefactor, do you think he is more sympathetic or Demona as far as their purpose, like their mission, their goal? You know what I mean? FYI, they both give very compelling sob stories. They really do. It's not a it doesn't really save them. It's not there's no like, I can't say that there's no redemption, but their sob stories do not justify what they do at all. It's Brian, I would have to say Xanatos is a bit more sympathetic. Like, at least he didn't stab anybody in the back who, after 1,000 years, you know what I'm saying? And then, like, deliver a curse that lasted 1,000 years and destroy everything the gargoyles ever stood for. Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. Xanatos was definitely more sympathetic. But yeah, we're going to have to do a part 2. And maybe we'll get past episode 2 next time. I'll just do like a brief generalization of like the characters and stuff. But I love this show so much. And guys, I wanted to say that I really appreciate everything, you guys being here, being interactive, so that I'm not just like talking to a wall. You guys are truly fantastic, incredible, amazing. I wouldn't be here without you guys. no matter how much I boomer the crap out of stuff, which tonight we had quite a few. I got a lot of love tonight. Ew. But I think it's really easy to forget that not all villains can be saved, and they shouldn't all be saved. They're villains for a reason, and we've slipped into this habit of where all the villains have to be redeemed. They have to have that redemption arc. They have to have that sob story, really, or like that, oh, they're just a misunderstood villain. Demona, there is there's no misunderstanding where she's coming from at all. She's not a misunderstood villainess. She is what she is. And her motivations for doing stuff is power. And that's it. So it's just something that I never thought that I would miss is real villains. And I do. I really do. Because, guys, some people are just born broken. And other people are corrupted to the point that power becomes the most important thing, and they forget why they started whatever it was that they were doing. And we had such good stories in the 80s and the 90s and even the early 2000s. And before that as well. But I mean, like, there was a litany of things in the 80s and 90s. And I don't know why we moved away from that. I don't know why people are so desperate to rescue the villain. But it really does. It makes me miss well-written villains and well-written stories. So I'm so glad that I was able to enjoy them and recognize it for what it was. Because if I had been born any later, especially if I was like a freaking Gen Zer, I think I finally get why Gen Z is so convinced that nothing like came before. Because if you go back and see what they have with their childhood growing up, it's all a lot of fluff. And it's all sympathetic villains or incompetent villains or a mixture of both, or you're desperate to rescue the villain. And we really need to get back to writing well-rounded, thought-out characters, regardless of if they're the antagonist, the protagonist, the hero, the villain, the innocent bystander, the love interest, whatever you mark them as. I don't care if it's, milkmaid number 3 on the east side of the village. She should have a purpose in being there. Like, okay, she lives in the village. Her mother is sick and her father is out in the fields, so she had to go get the milk that day. Or something. You know what I mean? Just something that gives it pull, and it so that they don't feel like just an insert to fill space. And I think that unless we as their, this is going to sound, but unless we as their like parents or cousins or aunts or whatever, show them that there's more than their 30-second TikTok videos, I don't think they're ever going to find it on their own, because it's just not what's been produced for a long time now. So I'm just, it's heartbreaking for me when I see what has been sacrificed for the sake of villain worship. Like, we've moved from hero worship to villain worship. There's this whole, guys, I know I don't usually talk like this on the nostalgia stream, so do forgive me, but there's this whole movement, and I see it in my fantasy circles too. Like, I have a book club that I attend, and the book that they've chosen is something that we swore is, it's in a genre that we swore we would never read. And I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, I don't want to quit the book club, but I also do not want to read A Court of Thrones and Roses. That's the name of the book. And it's apparently a huge international bestseller right now. And I have no desire to read it. It's a YA fantasy romance novel. And they keep trying to tell me that it's high fantasy. At best, I would call it dark fantasy. That's what it is not. They keep trying to tell me that it is on par with Kingkiller Chronicles and Shannara and Lord of the Rings and Chronicles of Narnia. And based off of the first 3 pages that I read, it's not. And I don't know what's so intriguing about this. They're like, it's like a murder mystery survival high fantasy magic. It's so great. And I'm like, that sounds like a YA series. Like, that doesn't sound like, it doesn't sound like anything I'd be interested in. And okay, I think it was Chrysanth, I think you brought it up. Yeah. Caters to what girls want is to fix the bad boy. Everything caters to women. Now, I'm going to tell you, it doesn't cater to all women. It caters to a very desperate niche market who are willing to spend a lot of money on ridiculous, and I don't mean fantasy the genre, I mean the fantasies in their like heads. And this is just the vehicle that they're using. And it's they talk about how there's like this very heavy on the PDA. That's how I'm going to phrase that. And I'm like, okay, but why? And they're like, oh, well, you know, apparently there's a lot of fetishes in the book right now as well. And in the book written out. There we go. And like, it's fine if that's what you want to read, but we swore we were never going to get into these like fantasy. I'm just going to call it what it is. These fantasy erotica books. Sorry, guys. Like, I'm really bummed out about this book. Not where I wanted to go at all. I was kind of hoping that we might do the Dragonbone chair and like follow that series. And that got rejected by 1 vote. So the way we decide our new book is so at the previous meeting, we put in the names of the books and into, like, we don't say who we, like, nobody knows who we are. So we have one person who updates the spreadsheet for the next month. And then you cast your a vote of 6 to 7. And I am not looking forward to this at all. Like, they're trying to convince me that these books are something that they are not. I'm not dumb and I'm not blind. I read the first 3 pages. I read the synopsis on the inside sleeve because I have it. I checked it out from the library in hardcover. And I have no desire to see a 19-year-old girl run around and be, I'm so sick of teenagers saving the world. Did you guys ever hear about the show Heroes? I blame that show. Save the cheerleader, save the world. Save the cheerleader, save the world. Like, no, stop it. I'm sick of the teenage YA nonsense. Please give me competent adults. I will take a 22-year-old at this point. Just please stop making them 19 and 15 and 17. Why are we always on the odd numbers? Like, what's wrong with Sweet 16? What's wrong with 18? Like, what is the matter? I don't understand. Anyway, I digress. I'm just this is why I do these streams. They're cathartic for me because I am about to have to read a book that I think is like 400 pages or something like that, in a genre that I don't love. And all for the sake of the fact that these women want to talk about the hot guys in it and the heavy relationships and the heavy romance in it. I don't need graphic scenes like that. It's like someone was explaining to me one of the scenes out of the book, and I was like, yeah, this is a dark fantasy. There's no way that this is a high fantasy, and you're never going to convince me that it is on par with Lord of the Rings. Someone said that it is supposed to be the version, like, it's supposed to be the women's Game of Thrones. There's a lot of stuff in Game of Thrones that was geared towards women too. I mean, not all the men, but there were, I saw the freaking advertisements for it. There were a lot of handsome, good-looking dudes in that show. I'm sure they all died, but it is what it is. But yeah, I'm really done. I'm really quite done with the teenage savior. I mean, even Jesus was 33 when he saved all of us from sin. Yes, I'm making a Christian Catholic reference there, but like, he was 33. I just don't get it. Like, 17-year-olds and 15-year-olds and 19-year-olds, for the most part, are not capable of what you are having them do. Like, it's just, ugh. And it's not even, we've moved past wine moms. We are at wine aunts now. Women who are in their mid-30s to mid-40s, maybe even pushing their 50s, have no kids. They bought into the feminist lie. So they've got no family, no kids, no nothing. And so now they're willing to dump all of their money on these very desperate fantasies. like, these are the people who are pushing for VR and you know, the positivity movement, because, like, they realize that they wasted the best years of their lives and that they've not grown as a person for it. But rather than taking that knowledge and trying to become mature, they're just going deeper into denial, and they're picking up these novels, and, like, so I follow a lot of, like, I have an Instagram and I follow a lot of book accounts over there. And I had to unfollow a few of them because it's literally like there's this trend going on, and I hate that word, but it's true. There is a trend in book reading now, and it's like, why do I read books? Because this world is not enough for me. Or I'll never find a man like this. And then it'll show, like, either official art or fan art of the character or characters that they're simping for. Like, these women, it's so weird because you have, like, these teen girls reading it, and you have these, like, 40-something-year-old women reading it. And they're, like, fawning over these super attractive, apparently, super attractive men in these stories. And how, oh, he's everything I've ever wanted, and I'll never find him in real life. It's like, I don't think that that's a good thing. There's a difference between having standards and living in a fantasy world. Like, if you're waiting for some dude whose skin literally glistens in the moonlight, and his hair is perfect and never out of place, and he has a jaw that can cut diamonds, I don't think that exists. You might get close, but that's also really shallow. Like, really shallow. And they're like, oh, but, you know, like, he says, like, the other thing is they have all of these quotes, and it's like, I've talked about this before on other streams. I'm gonna have to start doing book streams again. But there's a difference between protectiveness and possessiveness. And, like, these women who claim to hate masculine men and hate a alpha male in relationships with, you know, like, a traditional woman, basically, like, who can, like, cook and clean and all this other stuff, like, doesn't change the tires, doesn't change the oil, depends on the guy for a lot of the more masculine tasks. For these women who claim to hate that, then they come out with, like, this stuff. And it's just so terrible. I don't, like, how are you going to say that you hate men, and then you're going to throw out a book quote that's like, oh God, this is so freaking cheesy. I can't believe I'm about to say this. Be like, I've lived 1,000 lifetimes, but I never had you. It's like I'm seeing the stars for the first time. Like, what? What? Dude, you've been alive for 6,000 years. And now your world has changed because of this 19-year-old girl. I don't even know if that's in the book. I'll let y'all know if it is. Because I am going to have to read this book. But, like, I wonder if I could boycott my book club or just not go. I don't know. I find it hard to believe that a 6,000-year-old fairy is suddenly seeing the world through a new lens because of a 19-year-old huntress. I just don't see it. Hi, Faye. In case you're wondering, we did talk about Gargoyles, but now I've gone off on my book club and I'm ranting, even though I swore I would not do that. But they're trying to make me read A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I don't want to do it. I love Gargoyles too. Yes, we've left Gargoyles. Like, I'm so sorry, guys. Yes, bro, we left Gargoyles behind. I'm crying too. I'm sorry. It's bad. I'll stop. I'll do a whole other stream about books, and maybe I'll do one later tonight. Who knows? Check back in like 2 hours. And we can talk about my book club. Maybe, I don't know. But yes, to end the night after that huge tangent, Gargoyles is fantastic. It is one of the better series and better things ever put out by Disney. And you know, Goliath still remains my favorite character, and I think that he is a paragon when it comes to writing stoic male leads. I appreciate every single one of you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, for spending your time and donating. Let me check really quick. Chris Persia for $3. Thank you for a great topic and a great show. More Gargoyles discussion needed. Noted. I agree. This is a fantastic series. Just sing Can You Feel the Love Tonight first for Chris Persia. I have to, you want me to, I mean, we're at the end, so I suppose I can just clip it. Can you feel the love tonight? There you go. That's all you're getting. That's probably going to get copyright struck. I'm going to be in trouble. 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 I think that's actually a song too. Oh my God. Y'all are going to get me like banned off of YouTube. That would not be fun. So I think, can I just put like cover in the description? Like cover of, and then just like put it down in there. Ocarina of Time. Maybe they'll leave me alone. I doubt it. I've been getting a lot of bot love tonight. So, guys, it was fantastic. This was a great show. I had a lot of fun. This is a fan-freaking-tastic series. Dan Fast duet win. Cal G. Oh my God. You're hilarious. But I'm thankful for every single one of you. I hope you have a fantastic evening. And remember, don't just close your wallet to things that insult us and belittle us and have betrayed the core of storytelling, but open them up to things that are good. And if you have to go back in the past to find that, well, that's why these streams are here. Hopefully I will help you find a gem somewhere that you'll be able to enjoy, and will help maybe save your sanity, because escapism exists so that we don't go insane. You can't live there, but you also can't spend every waking moment of your life in reality, because that's just as fatal to your soul and to your mind. So, thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic evening, and I will see you all later.